Hey friends, today I want to talk about the connection between elephant and upside down pull-up on the chair. A beginner exercise on one piece of equipment into a more advanced exercise on a different piece of equipment. Why? Because that's what the whole point of the system is. Everything works together. Okay, so if you've ever had problems with upside down pull-up on the chair, get comfy. We're going to work it out right now. So I'm on 2 springs on the reformer. We're going to start with showing you elephant because really they're the same exercise. Shh, don't tell anybody. Okay, so here I come up onto the reformer. Plant the feet. Now, should you choose to do variations of elephant that are more in a flat back? Should you hybrid it with variations of upstretch where your heels are on the blocks? That's not necessarily going to help you for the upside down pull-up on the chair. They are great for strengthening the back and shoulders, but not what I'm going for today, okay? So I've been in the car for a while, so I'm not going to go all the way to the blocks. I'm going to go comfy, a little bit in front of the blocks. I'm digging my heels and picking up all 10 toes, but you'll notice my metatarsal is still on the ground or in the mat. That allows me to still use the whole sole of my foot. If the metatarsal comes up, weight is dumping too far back in the heel, more temptation to hang back in the knees. It should really be the connection of the feet that drags the spring and moves the spring. Therefore, it requires the work of your hamstring. Right? So I've got all 10 toes lifted, which also visually you can check your pronation, supination on that. Check it, check it. And the spine is rounded. And again, I've been in the car, so if my spine's not as curved as you'd like it to be, tough. Okay? So pressing out, driving through the feet, letting the power of the springs come up into the hips. Exhale, pulling the spring closed. The magic is in the closing of the spring. What pulls you together to pull the spring together? If you try to do that with just the hip flexors, you're going to start to see my low back get more in the mix than it needs to be. Okay? Right? And if I try to then take this to the chair, I'm then jumping to pick the pedal up. You've seen it before. You've probably done it before yourself. Right? Now, if I only use my arms to push, you're going to see my thoracic come in and out of shapes that, again, aren't going to help me when I try to take this shape to the chair. Okay? So the real point of elephant is to find what holds the spring together, what keeps pulling the spring cyclically up through your whole body. As I move it, my torso holds its shape, and then as I exhale, I scoop, lift, pull, and drag the spring back in. Yes, I said all of that in my head and out loud. And as I press out, I try not to fall out of the shape. I try not to dump back into my knees. I try to push straight down, drag the spring with my feet, pull it back in, hold it in. Now here's a fun little variation to try. Pull your feet together, because when you get to the chair, your legs are together in the upside down pull-up, right? I'm going to pick up my toes again, because again, now you can see it more when the legs are together. If you look at your knees, right? If you can see them, right? If I pick up my toes, I'm very tempted to hang back. Very, very, very tempted. But I'm going to pull together high up into my hips, really hold my femurs up high into my foot, right? Keep it all connected, press out. Now I really feel it in those low abs as I come in with the legs together. But that's the action I'm going to need on the chair as we move on over so we can get into that upside down pull-up. Now we bring it to the chair. So everything we just did in your elephant directly applies to your upside down pull-up. I'm on 2 pretty medium springs, right? So pedal comes down, round the spine, come up onto the chair. Now, depending on what brand of your chair, depends really on where you prefer to put your hand placement. This chair is a little wide for me to go out to the sides. I prefer to come to the edges and in on the curve just a little bit, okay? So feet are together like we just showed in that elephant variation, and I'm gonna round the spine. Now, like I said, if you've been practicing your elephant more in a flat back, right? To lift the pedal, I have to come forward, and I've actually got to use my low back to try and pick up the pedal. And you see it move, and it works, right? But it doesn't resemble anything of the elephant, and you hear the strain in my voice because I'm really collapsed and dropped, and then I'm just trying to yank with my low back, which, I mean, every doctor says, use your legs. Well, I'm going to tell you to use your core, okay? So come into the elephant shape with those legs together. Heels together. You can be in Pilates, be parallel. Pick your poison. Remember that feeling of closing the spring in the elephant. When you pressed out and you had to pull to come back in. It is that pulling and scooping that pulls weight forward into the shoulders that have been prepped by that foot bar of standing strong. And then with an exhale, I think, pull the reformer spring and roll up, curl down, and lift, and curl down, and one more lift. And as I come all the way down, I'm thinking, hold the reformer closed, hold it closed, hold it closed, and then down I come. And now, yes, it's considerably more weight shifting forward into your upper body than that of elephant, okay? Remember, an elephant, you're more in this shape, and we're moving the leg. This is a great prep exercise for your pull-up. Because do I just come back in by flexing and using my hip flexor? Or do I come in with the idea of picking up and scooping and pulling? Because that pull is what should pull me in my upper body and keep me lifted to execute the exercise and all the fun variations that you can do at the top with your tendon stretch. Have a good one.